rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, and I guess I got a couple twofers over on Facebook, according to Ms. T. I could just imagine. Anyway, I'm sure I know who it is. I know what's going on there. All right, so tonight, of course, I have a couple of things with regards to Kamala. Let's just say that this is going to be a bit of a typical kind of thing is for me. I've got a video from a gentleman who is a Democrat, by the way. And he is a black Democrat. And he is not on board with Kamala Harris. The video is about, I'm going to say it's about 5 minutes long, so we'll see. I'm going to play it, but it's got a lot of great information in it. Another very intelligent individual who is bringing this out into the open, and we need to take videos like that and spread them far and wide. Also tonight too, I've got some international news for you, as well as, did you know that the left, and in particular the WEF, has their own little Project 2025 report? Yeah. Anyway, I'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and I believe tonight is 3 Chevy's turn for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat, place your hand over your heart, and follow along with 3 Chevy from Rumble fame in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I want to thank 3 Chevy for submitting that wonderful rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like to get your rendition played here on the program and stuck in the rotation, you can do so by recording yourself performing the Pledge of Allegiance. And when you have that to your liking, go ahead and email that to me at fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans at AmericanPerspective.online. Oh, I also forgot to mention, by the way, and I believe it's also 3 Chevys, come to think about it. Yes, actually it is. 3 Chevy had an interesting adventure with this week's Pet of the Week. And I will go ahead and show that, of course, at the end of the program. But before I do anything else, I have to let you all know that tonight is...
Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
That's right. It is Whiskey Wednesday. It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. All right. That was a request by Music Man. He misses the ice falling. So I figured I'd go ahead and just put that in there. So there you go. From the old Whiskey Musings show. And tonight, of course, for Whiskey Wednesday, I am drinking 4 Roses, single barrel, for tonight's drink. And, of course, it is in the True Grit Roots Network tumbler, rocks, glass, whatever you want to call them. There it is right there. And I've got, of course, my whiskey stones there in the bottom. A little bit of a chill on the whiskey. So there we go. And, of course, because I am drinking out of that glass, I have to tell you about True Grit Roots Network. This is TGRN.net is our website. You can head on over there and Wow. And listen to 24/7, 365 days of the year, all blues, all the time on TGRN Blues. We have fantastic on-air personalities that all come on in the evenings, but during the day, you get a complete wall-to-wall blues channel every single day of the week. We have interesting and exciting and unique programming that nobody else in the world carries on True Grit Roots Network, TGRN Blues. Head on over to tgrn.net, listen right there in your browser, or if you would like to, you can download our app right there. We have links on tgrn.net, or if you already have the Live 365, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey, AUDACY apps already on your phone, you can search up TGRN, True Grit Roots Network, TGRN Blues, right there through their digital radio catalog. You can find us on all 3 locations plus our own app. It's really easy to listen. We have worldwide exposure, worldwide listeners, and we are constantly trying to improve with everything that we do on True Grit Roots Network. Go to tgrn.net, True Grit Roots Network, TGRN Blues out of Austin, Texas. And we thank you, of course, for listening. All right. So, right now, the best, at least recent in modern history, well, I won't say in modern history because that cuts out Ronald Reagan, but the best president and presidential candidate in the race, bar none today, is Donald Trump, and he is speaking to supporters in Pennsylvania right now, in Harrisburg. He's finishing up his speech. I kind of watched it a little bit, in between setting up for the show, but he seems to be doing quite a good job over there. One thing I do have to say about him right now is that he needs to start hitting Kamala Harris on her record. Forget the idea of all the different things that she's got, going on. He needs to smack Kamala on her record, on her past, where she wants to go. And he kind of did some of that tonight in his speech, which was perfect. He also apparently made an appearance on an NBC show in front of the National Black something, I can't remember. But anyway, let's just put it this way. The welcome there was not the same as what he would normally get in a rally. And they were awfully rude to him. But of course, because of that, the left is like jumping all over the place, saying that he, ended his political career. At least that's what they've been saying, because of the way that he apparently responded to the rudeness of the NBC hosts and interviewers, who ironically were black women, which of course that's why they are excited over it, because they feel like they found his Achilles heel. I don't think he has an Achilles heel as far as that goes. So anyway, obviously fallouts like that are going to happen. And realistically, fallouts like that and issues like that are going to come up, and, the left is going to do what the left does. And then of course the right's going to do what they do, but we've still got over 90 days to the election, and a lot can change in between now and then. But one of the things that is definitely interesting and coming up very quickly is the DNC's roll call. So the DNC, of course, is doing this virtual roll call because of the fact, originally they were doing it because of the fact that they needed to get Joe Biden in under the wire in Ohio. Well, that got pushed out. As I said, Ohio gave them the extension. And so, but rather than tearing it down and doing like a normal a normal convention, they decided to go ahead with this roll call. Now, originally it was supposed to be for Joe Biden, but obviously he got kicked to the curb, got ousted by the Obama cabal, the Obama Pelosi cabal, and not to mention the fact that I'm sure Kamala Harris was in it, because reports are that he was forced out with the threat of being 25th Amendmented and losing his final days in the Oval Office. So anyway, he ended up, or they ended up, meaning the DNC ended up staying with this, and now they have completed their coronation of Kamala Harris right now. They are making it so that there is literally zero way that anyone else can get involved with being candidate for the Democrats, because she is the sole candidate to quote unquote qualify for the DNC roll call. Now, the qualification, of course, has to deal with things, and this is coming out of Breitbart, by the way. The qualification, of course, has to deal with the fact that she is supposed to be able to get a certain amount of, they have to first start by submitting a notarized declaration of candidacy. Then they have to meet the legal requirements that are presented in, of course, the Constitution of the United States. And then they have to secure the electronic signatures of a minimum of 300 delegates with no more than 50 signatures from any one particular delegation counting toward the minimum. By that means you can't have more than 50 in one particular state. So for an example, I believe California has a crap ton of delegates, and she can only get 50 from California. That's the way that works. Now, the DNC did announce that they had 3,923 delegates that have petitioned, of course, to nominate Harris. And that is, of course, through the AP. So, yeah. The delegates and everybody will still go to the convention planned for late August in Chicago. But, yeah, this is bullshit. I mean, this is basically the Democrat Party, who touts that they want to save Democrats, or save democracy, does something that is literally undemocratic. Probably what they should have done if they wanted to have something fair, and by the way, reports are that this is what Obama wanted, was to go and do an open convention. And it's, I guess, just see what happens, like see how many actually get in, or whoever, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, the story goes that Obama threatened Joe with the 25th Amendment with Kamala Harris at his side, and, or in agreement, I should say. And Joe immediately, knowing that Obama did not want Kamala Harris, because he secretly doesn't think that she has enough to win, they went ahead and, or Biden went ahead and nominated her, or endorsed her, to basically give the big single middle finger to Obama, because Biden and Obama hate each other. At least that's the story. Probably not that far from the truth, to be honest with you. Now, the funny thing about Kamala, or Kamala, whatever. Anyway, she held a campaign stop, a rally, I guess you could call it, at Atlanta. And of course, the leftist social media accounts were just like, oh my gosh, this is such a huge rally. Oh, there's people all over the place. 10,000 people. She had some rapper by the name of Megan, the, whatever, Stallion. I don't know why you can call a woman a stallion, but whatever. But anyway, they went ahead and she had this rousing Atlanta rally, supposedly. And what does Kamala do? Well, Kamala went ahead and did a Southern accent. Now, I have done a Southern accent on this show, and I've been ripped. Ripped because of it, because apparently my Southern accent ain't all that great. All right. And so anyway, sorry, that was just a bad joke. But anyway, Kamala apparently did the exact same thing. And there were some people who kind of had some mixed reactions. They also said it was sort of bizarre because not only did she throw in an accent, but she also started to like change the way she was speaking so that she sounded more like what you would potentially hear from someone of a specific ethnic persuasion, dropping all kinds of things like the G's and stuff like that. Yeah, it was sort of interesting. I tried to find a full-on clip of it, and I only got a little bit of it. But anyway, this is what they do. I mean, Obama did it in 2008. He did it again in 2012. Hillary did it in 2016, and she is now doing it because they have to try and pander for those votes. They are literally begging for votes. And one person pointed out that they were that she basically had a Megan the whatever stallion, Megan the mayor, she had a concert for her, a free concert for her, and it featured Kamala Harris rather than the other way around. Anyway, yeah, she, the more she gets out in front of people like this and has off script moments like this. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens with this whole thing. I don't think it's actually going to get very far just because of the fact that the mainstream media is looking to remake her as much as possible. But the thing about it is, well, let me just put it this way. Bless her heart. All right. Continuing on the Kamala Lama ding dong train here. Kamala Harris, according to the Daily Wire, once pledged at one point to keep transgender criminals out of prison if she was president. So yeah, Kamala Harris once pledged that she was going to keep transgender criminals out of prison. I mean, why? What would be the point? What would be the point? I mean, really, what would be the point in keeping a criminal out of prison? A criminal is a criminal. They are supposed to go to jail. That's their punishment. Just because they happen to be transgender, you're going to give them some sort of special privileges? Well, this particular article actually kicked off an interesting, had an interesting link in it and kicked off something for me because, somebody once said, and I don't know who it is, but the internet is forever. And let me just point out to you that, yes, the internet is forever. Because right here on this program, I am going to show you the 2020 campaign website for Kamala Harris. This is it right here. This is a archive. This is the web.archive.org archive for her website. Now, there's several links up here that they all go to the proper pages and everything else. But the thing is that you can look at her policies. These are the policies that she is trying to erase right now. Obviously Kamala's Medicare for All plan, which of course she wants to get rid of private insurance companies. She wants everybody to be basically beholden to the government. Gee, I wonder what kind of political let's say, political leaning does that sound like? Oh, I don't know. Maybe socialist, communist? Yeah. Marxist? Possibly. She talked about rent relief and lift acts. So she wanted to fight against the, high costs of housing is a part of it. She plans to transform the criminal justice system and re-envision public safety in America. Yeah. Yeah, so the reportedly tough on crime prosecutor from California, who, by the way, screwed up more often than not, wants to re-envision public safety. And not only that, but she advocated for the defund the police. She also advocated for and helped, as I've shown you in the past, helped get bail money for the rioters, the BLM rioters, who were arrested and so on and so forth. She obviously is for climate change. She's against fracking. Don't forget that. Also, she wants to go around and grab your guns, take everything away. And there's more in here. I mean, obviously, you can go and take a look for it on yourself, but you can take a look and read the key points and the full policies under each individual. But I guarantee you that if you go there, she has turned herself around on most of this. Most of these policies, she's actually come out and said, oh, no. Like, for an example, fracking. Oh, no. I don't want to ban fracking. And the only reason why she says she doesn't want to ban fracking is because she's looking to, she is basically looking to get a hold of the votes in Pennsylvania. And by the way, toward that end, I have a sneaking suspicion, as do many, because of the fact that she is announcing her VP pick next week in Pennsylvania, that she is probably going to take Josh Shapiro as her running mate. I would say he probably has a 55 to 60% chance of being her running mate right now. That's just my guess. But anyway. And here's another flashback really quick. And this is that tough on crime prosecutor that we're supposed to believe that she actually is. This here in the National Pulse. Flashback. Kamala dropped investigation of supplement company represented by her husband's law firm and Heather Podesta. So apparently while she was serving as California's Attorney General, again, that really tough on crime prosecutor, she dropped a fraud investigation into the health supplement company Herbalife, however you might pronounce it, after a large political donation from Heather Podesta, who is a powerful Democrat lobbyist and a member of the Podesta family. And she, Podesta family, who is also reportedly tied to the company. The Herbalife case and Harris's relationship with the Podesta family have since renewed questions regarding her so-called commitment to the care economy, whatever that means, and standing up to corrupt corporate interests, which she has thrown a lot on her thing. She's talked about going after, corporate thievery and stuff. In fact, she did a post today where she was talking about a post on X where she was talking about going after greedy corporations and trying to get them to, release their profits and so on and so forth. Sounds to me like that's she's a bit corrupt there. Corruption there. Oh boy. That's Kamala Harris for you. Well, apparently, not everybody's buying it. Not everybody is buying the whole Kamala Harris act. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the fact that there is a gentleman who posted this video. I believe it was posted on TikTok and it was cross-posted on X. But he has got some serious information for anyone who is thinking about voting for her just because she is a woman and a person of color. Take a look.
I told you. Guys, I told you that Project 2025 was a fear-mongering tactic being utilized by the twisted version of my party, the Democratic Party. I'm not saying all Democrats are bad. I'm not saying, I wish to God they would have went to convention and tried to find somebody else. I really do. But unfortunately, they chose Harris. One of her staff members just came out and admitted that Kamala Harris and Biden are misleading the voters on Project 2025 and its connection to former President Trump. They just admitted it. If you don't believe me, Google it. Okay? They lied to you guys to try to keep you from walking away from them because their policies suck. Guys, listen to me. Do we really want to do this? Do we really want to vote based on identity politics because somebody's black, because they're white, because they're Indian, because they're a woman? Do we really want to do that? Do we really want to put in somebody who, because they don't have a record of success to stand on, they lie? Not only did she lie to you about Project 2025, she lied to you recently about being the border czar. Guys, for the last 4 years, we knew she was the border czar. And now all of a sudden, she is colluding with journalists to brainwash you into believing that she was never the border czar. Guys, all you have to do is Google House Resolution 253. Let your fingers do the walking and look at what you'll find. She's the border czar. Guys, come on, man. Please, stop letting these people play you. She lied about the border, said it was secure. And now you got people walking across the border. Broke our border, created a major crisis, 15 million people coming in. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they're about, right? On top of that, exacerbating existing problems that we're already having in the country, like homelessness. We still haven't got our hand wrapped around homelessness. Guess what? Now we got our homeless, and now migrants who are now homeless as well. Exacerbated crime. Not only were we dealing with our criminals, now we have to deal with the negative exception of individuals who come across the border. We have gang members from other countries who are now increasing their footprint all over the country because she lied and didn't do her job. She lied about that. What else did she lie about? She lied about crime control. She literally said that more cops on the street doesn't necessarily equal safe streets. Well, how you feeling right now, Baltimore? How you feeling right now, Chicago? How you feeling right now, Philly, LA, Houston, New Orleans? Feeling safe right now? Hell no. Because cops are retiring, quitting. They're tired of being the whipping boy for all society's problems, and they're leaving in the droves. Now departments are short-staffed, and we can't even hire new recruits because of the rhetoric that was utilized by Kamala Harris and others was just too strong. And now people are in danger. The response times are sometimes 90 minutes. It's crazy to think that more cops make streets less safe, less safe. That's crazy. She called Proposition 47, the initiative in California to turn felonies into misdemeanors, right? To release criminals. She called it the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. You feeling safe right now in California? Huh? How's that going for you? How's your quality of life? How's it to wake up and your car's getting broken into for the third or fourth time? How is it waking up and your grocery store, your pharmacy has to close because they can't keep up with the theft? Guys, this is not the time to vote identity politics. I get it. Many people want to see a woman in office. Many people want to see another black person in office. But this isn't the time for that. We have to vote for the person whose policies are proven to be effective. And she doesn't have a record of success. And all she's going to do is double down on bad policy, guys. So, guys, this is too critical, guys. Don't do this. And also, don't engage in lewd comments about her. Don't do that. To that genius, and I'm saying that sarcastically, who was on TV the other day, who called her a hot tool president or whatever, that was stupid and that was wrong. Not only is disrespectful to her as a woman, she is loved by somebody. Stop that. You don't have to beat her. That's not a winning strategy. All you have to do is point to her record. She can't defend it. You can beat her on that, guys. It's too critical. Look, if you want to vote 4 years from now, you identify as a cat and you want to vote for a cat for president of the United States, do it 4 years from now. But right now, we got to fix the critical issues. And I don't believe she's capable of doing that. That's all I'm saying, guys. To my friends and family who were like, oh, Dion, you crazy. No, when I tell you these things, I'm telling you this out of love. I know political BS when I see it, and every 4 years they do the same thing. And they scare you into voting against your best interest, and look where we are. Thanks for listening.
And there you go. A series of serious, intelligent, and eloquent, very well spoken in terms of the setting out the points. It didn't look like he was like reading off of cards. That looked like that was coming from the heart. I'm just telling you, people, they may think that they have the votes. I'm not so sure. I am not so sure. I'm still pulling for, of course, for Trump. Still pulling for America because Kamala Harris, she is anti-America. She is anti-America. And so I downloaded that off X, and I'm gonna probably post that on my socials. If you follow me on those socials, make sure you retweet it, repost it, share it, whatever, however that ends up working. And I mean, I'm gonna start. I've already started amassing some of those videos, and I'm gonna start posting them up. And hopefully, I would hope that you guys join me in that and get them, share them, send them out to everybody, especially to your liberal moron friends. And yes, only morons vote Democrat. All right. Well, before I get into the next segment of topics, I got to tell you, I am wearing this fantastic shirt. Let me show you. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. That is a snake. Oh, and I got to show you the back. Take a look at the back. The back's got a bigger snake on it. It says, "Don't tread on me." It's kind of hard for me to get up that high. But anyway, it says, "Don't tread on me." This shirt is one of the collection that can be found at theflagshirt.com. All of their shirts are patriotic. Every single one of them have some sort of patriotic theme on them, whether it's the good old red, white, and blue, like this, where it's the "Don't Tread on Me," the Gadsden flag motto, or any other type of thing. They even have like veterans and service members and those kinds of things. They have t-shirts there. They've got some wonderful shirts. I wear their polos, their cotton polos, quite a bit as well. So head on over to theflagshirt.com. That's theflagshirt, all one word, .com. And you can take a look at their patriotic gear. But hey, I'm going to throw in a little bit of a incentive for you. So here it is. Here it is. This is it. This is how you do it. You go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. That's flagshirt.americanperspective.online. And you'll be presented with a code. You copy and you paste that code into your promo code box when you go to checkout from theflagshirt.com after you've got your cart all filled with good patriotic clothing and accessories. Grab that coupon code and stick it in your cart at checkout, and you'll get $5 off your order. And of course, if you order $75 or more on their site, they will, by the way, they will throw in free shipping too. So go to theflagshirt.com and don't forget your code that can be found at flagshirt.americanperspective.online to get your patriot and patriotic shirts, hats, and accessories, all from theflagshirt.com. Theflagshirt.com. Get yourself patriotized. All right. So we have what appears to be some really good, at least I'm going to say it appears to be some really good news out of Arizona. So Arizona had a primary last night, and our wonderful young lady, I'm calling her young, she's probably as old as I am, but anyway, I'm going to still call her young because she's still a beautiful young lady.
I told you.
Whoops.
I told you. Guys,
Sorry.
I told
That's
you
my fault.
that Project 2025.
Bad. Here we go. Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake wins the Senate GOP primary down in Arizona. So she beat out. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little sad that she had to go up against somebody like Mark Lamb. I've read Mark Lamb's book here on the program, which, by the way, you can get at the Institute on the Constitution. If you go to my link, iotc.americanperspective.online, you can find it there. He's got a book called The Constitutional Sheriff. Great little read. You can read it in like an hour and a half. But Carrie Lake has appeared to be the GOP Senate candidate. She emerged victorious today in her bid to become GOP nominee in Arizona's 2024 U.S. Senate race. Multiple news outlets declared Lake the winner over Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb and neuroscientist Elizabeth Ray. With nearly 80% of the votes counted, Lake led with 340,213 votes, or roughly 55.4% of the votes. Lamb received roughly 240,877, or roughly 39.2% of the vote, and Ray got 33,287 votes, or 5.4% of the votes. So it looks like it was basically a race between Lake and Lamb, and Lake won. So there we go. Lake said in a post on X, "This isn't about right or left. This is about what's right for America and what's wrong. This is an all hands on deck moment to save the country." She added, "So I invite everyone, conservatives, independents, libertarians, and Democrats, even, to join our movement. We welcome you with open arms." So Lake is poised to face off against Ruben Gallego, who secured the Democrat Party's nomination in Arizona Senate, U.S. Senate, while running unopposed. And the candidates are fighting for the seat that is currently held by Kristen Sinema, who opted not to run for re-election. Now, if you remember, Kristen Sinema actually walked away from the Democrat Party and turned herself into an independent, even though that was only just a freaking title gesture. It had literally nothing to do with her actual beliefs or anything else, because of the fact that running as an independent, most of the independents still caucus. And by caucus, I mean in the House of Representatives, they still generally side with the Democrats. There are no independents that I'm aware of that, oh, wow. I'll get to that in just a minute. There are no independents that actually side with the Republicans anywhere. Real quick shout out. I'll get back to the story here in just a minute, but I got to give a real quick shout out to Mama Five Kitties. She's been a long time Whiskey Warrior P1, and she is celebrating her 27th anniversary today. I'm close. I was at 26 here not too long ago. She made certain that she could come and see me tonight. So thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Happy anniversary. And, wow, wow. Whew. Oh, that hits me right here. That is absolutely, thank you. I can't even imagine what your husband said to that. Anyway. All right. So going back to, of course, the lake thing. Oh, wait a minute here. Cheers. There we go. All right. Drink on her. All right. Or drink for her, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, you're getting congratulations all over. Even, like Facebook is saying congratulations and stuff like that. So that is fantastic. Anyway. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So in her 2024 Senate bid, Lake has actually raised $10.3 million through the end of June, while Lamb only collected $2 million, according to the Associated Press. So it looks like Lake was doing quite well. She has the backing of Donald Trump, who is running his other campaign, of course, for the White House. Trump said of Lake in a telephone rally on Monday, "She's fantastic. She will not let us down. Carrie Lake, I think she's going to be as good as you can get. There's nobody going to be better." Well, all I can tell you is what I've seen of Carrie Lake. She is a fighter. She is a pit bull, and she is a very, very good person to go up against the mainstream media, the news outlets, because she used to be them. And she just I think she's going to do great in the Senate, and I hope that we can grab that seat, because that would definitely help in the Senate. I'm actually not sure if Arizona has Democrat senators or not. Oh wait, it's Sinema's seat. So yeah, this would be perfect. This would be a perfect win for them, for the Republicans, to help take back the Senate in 2024, which we need to do. I mean, everybody seems to think that the 2024 election is all about the presidency. It actually isn't. It's about the presidency. It's about keeping the House and increasing the distance in the House and taking back the Senate, so that no matter what happens, we can get our agenda, or Agenda 47, not Project 2025, but Agenda 47, taken care of in 2024, leading up to 2028, which will be another round of trouble once we get to that point. Speaking of Project 2025, and according to Becky, she put, meaning Lake, put one of our journalists in his place. I guess the journalist's name was Liam Bartlett. So anyway, here we go. This is just fantastic. But I wanted to let you guys know, the Democrats and the left have been talking and trying to tie Project 2025 to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance for quite some time. In fact, they are still doing it, even though Kamala Harris's campaign made a slip and said, "Oh yeah, well, we know that they're not tied to it." But anyway, that being said, did you know that there is a version of Project 2025 on the Democrat side? And it's actually not just the Democrats. It's the World Economic Forum's project, but it's definitely very much akin to it in terms of a push to try and make cities in particular do their changes for climate change. Okay. And it so happens that there's 14 American cities that have sort of adopted this frickin' thing. But here, let me just go ahead and show you. Here in the Federalist, these 14 American cities have a target of banning meat, dairy, and private vehicles by 2030. So this project, okay, is called the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. And 14 cities are a part of this globalist climate organization. Okay. Their ambitious target that they are after is to, by the year 2030, remove meat consumption, remove dairy consumption, have 3 new clothing items per person per year, have 0 private vehicles owned, and 1 short-haul return flight every 3 years per person. So what they're doing, what they're talking about here, this is a climate change agenda. This is a globalist climate, wish list, let's say, for these cities. to take up. Now, the C40's dystopian goals, is reading from the piece, dystopian goals can be found on its The Future of Urban Consumption in a 1.5 degrees C World report. And it was published in 2019 originally, reportedly re-emphasized back in 2023. We're in 2024 now. The organization is largely headed and funded by Democrat billionaire Michael Bloomberg. Okay? Nearly 100 cities across the world are they actually make up this organization. But its American members include, now listen to this list, Austin, Boston, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New Orleans, New York City, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Portland, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and of course, right here in my backyard, Seattle. Now, I'm still trying to figure it out. I still would love for somebody to actually point to me a city that is considered a Republican city. And by that, I mean major city, not rural township, which has, 20 or 30 or 100 people in it. I'm talking about a major metropolis area. I do not believe here in America there is actually a major metropolis area that is not Democrat run and controlled. Okay, I'd really like to see that. But I know places like Austin, Houston, we know Chicago and LA and Boston and Miami and New Orleans, New York, Philly, Portland, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Seattle are all leftist lunatic crap holes. I'm gonna watch my words. But I'm not quite so sure about Phoenix, but I'm fairly certain that Phoenix is actually, because Arizona, voted its stupid ass governor here not too long ago. But I'm really trying to find some place that doesn't have liberal policies that could be considered, right-leaning or right-run. And yes, Miami is on that list. Miami is on that list. That was a response to Mark over on Facebook saying Miami was on there. Yeah, Miami is on there. They are a part of the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group. Media coverage of these goals have been relatively sparse. Again, going back to the piece here. The few media personalities and news outlets who have discussed it have been heavily attacked by the corporate fact checkers. Now, in a fact check aimed at conservative commentator Glenn Beck, the AFP fact check claimed that the banning of meat and dairy, limits on air travel, and clothing consumption were actually not policy recommendations. The AFP quotes the paragraph from the original. The Future of Urban Consumption in a 1.5C World report reads, "This report does not advocate for wholesale adoption of these more ambitious targets in C40 cities. Rather, they are included to provide a set of reference points that cities and other actors can reflect on when considering different emission reduction alternatives and long-term urban visions." Yeah, that would go well, really, in Project 2025, because I'm sure they have some kind of a claim of a very similar nature when it talks about it. In fact, I believe that the Project 2025 basically said, no, this isn't anybody's policies. This is just a bunch of people putting together essentially in a conservative, heavy and conservative idealistic world, these things would be in place, which, as I told you last night, I talked to you about it. There are several policies that are in Project 2025 that people actually enjoy. The majority, not knowing that they were Project 2025 proposals, actually agreed with them in that scenario. So you got to go back and check that out. That piece is in last night's show. But still, this is the key. I mean, this is the thing. These think tanks, these reports, these things that are put together, they are put together with the idea that, hey, you know what? We're not telling everybody to adopt all of these. Wink, wink, nod, nod, wink, wink. Yeah, we're not telling you to adopt all of these things, but in a perfect world, wink, wink, nod, nod, wink, wink. Yeah. This is what needs to happen. So, yeah. So anyway, the point being here, though, is that, yes, this is exactly what it is, in terms of a Democrat Project 2025 kind of thing. In 2020, the World Economic Forum promoted the C40 cities, which does promote the C40 cities on its website, introduced what they called the Great Reset, which seeked to use COVID-19 pandemic as a point from which to launch a global reset of society to supposedly combat climate change. The reset that they claim, however, has far more to do with social control than it does with the actual environment. Now, if globalist leaders truly cared about the environment, they wouldn't be chartering private jets or owning massive energy-consuming mansions on the coast in California or in Martha's Vineyard. Who would that be? Anyway, moving on. Which by climate fanatics' own calculation are supposed to be soon underwater. Let's just quit going around the bushes here. Anybody, and I'm not talking about, Bush, like as in George Bush, but anybody that is a climate change advocate who buys beachfront property is essentially telling you by their actions that they clearly do not actually believe in the bullshit and hype that they are selling with regards to climate change. I mean, we've all seen the photos. We've all seen the pictures. Pictures of places, iconic places that are, 100 years apart. And the actual levels of the sea water, all right, hasn't changed. In fact, the one study, and I talked about it on this program, there was a study that was talking about the Antarctic ice that was melting. And there was another study that basically said, yeah, it's melting on one side of the Antarctic, but when you go to the other side of the Antarctica, it's actually gaining over there. So what the hell is going on? Oh, maybe it could be possibly that this world, this earth, this wonderful place that was formed and created by intelligent design, hint, hint, meaning God, that it actually self-heals, that everything that we're doing to it is actually not hurting it. For an example, because of all the CO2 in the atmosphere that everybody claims is like the bane of our existence and we have to get down to zero emissions, but yet the earth has never been greener before? Knowing simple science from fourth grade, fifth grade, that photosynthesis and trees and plants actually use CO in order to create oxygen for us to basically breathe. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, these people, I'm telling you. Oh, they just they just go crazy. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Where are these people? I mean, I've been posting on social media, and I'm still going to post on social media that only morons vote Democrat. In fact, I created a hashtag on X with regards to that, and we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen there. Anyway, in fact, I even got accused by some leftists. They're like, oh, you don't have very many followers. You created a hashtag. Is it very popular yet? In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, not yet. Not yet, but soon. Anyway. All right. So I don't know if anybody has been watching the international news. We're going to take a quick shift and change subjects, and we're going to go to the international desk. So I don't know if anybody was watching, but in the last couple of days, there was a Hezbollah attack on an Israeli target. And unfortunately, 12 children were killed on a soccer field by this rocket attack. Well, Israel, being Israel and doing what Israel does, which is essentially what anybody who has an intelligent mind and believes in the self-defense law, went ahead to go and carries out strikes against Hezbollah targets. And of course, this causes concern for escalation. So this story is in the Washington Examiner here. So Israel's military hit several Hezbollah targets in Lebanon overnight on Tuesday as the world waits to see the extent of Israel's response to the Hezbollah attack that left a dozen children dead. Now, one thing you got to understand, it wasn't actually Jewish children who died. It was they call them a specific name, but they weren't Jewish, but they were still Israeli. And so the Israelis went ahead, and the Israeli Defense Force struck approximately 10 Hezbollah terror targets in 7 different locations in southern Lebanon. Now, keep in mind that I'm feeling the love. I'm sorry. I got to take a second. This is off the tracks, but I got to do this. So apparently Coco Dominki over on Rumble was being pulled by her husband to go somewhere, and somehow he just like magically changed his mind, and now she's back. And she's basically saying, after a couple of other Rumblers have put in, don't tell him not to leave when whiskey is on. Whiskey is me, of course. And so Coco responded back and went, right? Stop interrupting my Whiskey Warrior time. Oh, you guys are just filling my heart with joy. So anyway. Sorry, side note. Anyway, I love you guys. I love all you guys. This show is for you. I mean, that's basically what it is. This show is for all of my listeners, watchers, and everything else. I try to produce a product that you guys are going to keep coming back and return to every single time I transmit. This is the way that this works. You guys are fantastic, and I love all of you, even though I've never met any of you directly. I know enough about you right now that I love all of you. I love all of you. Anyway. All right. So back to this. The thing about it is that people don't seem to understand about this entire situation is the fact that Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis, they are all part of the same Iranian cabal of third-party terrorist organizations. They're paid by Iran to do these things. And so, and yes, I do. And so, sorry, I got sidetracked again. This is another one, but here, Mark is pointing out that he wore one of my Whiskey Warrior shirts to Busch Gardens. I do have a photo, and thank you for sending it. I was planning on showing it, and I do appreciate that for it. I'll probably show it here in the next program, or possibly the program after that, just to show you. So there's another off the tracks kind of thing. But anyway, all right, going back to the piece, or going back to the story, to what I was talking about. The things that people don't understand is that these 3 organizations, the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas, are all being paid as a third-party sycophantic terrorist extension of Iran. And what a lot of people don't recall is that Obama, back in his day, sent them a pallet of cash, claiming, of course, that it belonged to Iran anyway, and that he didn't want to hold it anymore, even though the U.S. had grabbed it and held onto it because of their terrorist activities in the Middle East. Well, then right after that, Trump gets in, and Trump actually puts on tariffs and sanctions and things of that nature toward Iran, and Iran started getting starved. And this is part of the reason why. The entire region was very quiet during the Trump years. Well, then Biden gets in, and Biden immediately ignores the sanctions, doesn't bother policing them, allows Iran to start selling its oil, and then on top of that, hands over $6 billion, that's right, billion with a B, $6 billion to Iran. Not even a month and a half later, they attack Israel. Hamas does. Now, there is absolutely no way that Hamas could have pulled off that attack without the monetary help and possibly even the training help of Iran. And so what ended up happening here was the handover of all of this cash that the Biden administration did went straight into the coffers of Iran. Iran doesn't care about its people. Yes, $6 billion was handed over to Qatar. Qatar was supposed to hold it and only use it for humanitarian reasons. But give me a break. Anyone who deals with any kind of budget or any kind of finances in any way, shape, or form, you know as well as I do that if you have money that is guaranteed to come in from somewhere for a specific purpose, you take whatever money that you had left over in that slot and you move it and use it somewhere else, which is exactly what I'm betting that Iran actually did. Is they had money sitting in there because they were like, hey, you know what? We got to shoot all of this stuff we're being held to, our humanitarian, we got to have food. We got to buy food or pay money to get food or whatever it is. So we're going to set this aside to make sure that at least the mullahs can eat. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, you can use this for humanitarian purposes. Here's $6 billion. Oh, hell, I don't need to be putting money into that account anymore. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to start spending it. And I'm going to hand it over to freaking Hamas, who can go and attack Israel. Yeah. That is exactly the situation. And it's not just money, too. I mean, we have allowed them through the Iran nuclear deal to develop potentially nuclear weapons. And I've told you on this program before, they're getting close if they haven't already had it. And they're going to be, probably announcing it. If Trump ends up winning in November, they'll probably announce it. That, hey, now we have a nuclear weapon. And do you honestly believe that Israel's going to sit idly by and allow Iran, a terrorist regime, a terrorist backing regime in the region, within striking distance of Israel? Do you honestly believe that they're going to allow them to have a nuclear weapon? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, so in addition to these strikes that they had in the Hezbollah area, this came out as well. Now now I don't currently have any information as to whether or not Israel actually did this, but I can tell you, you want to talk about destabilizing a region? Yeah, this actually did. Coming from CNN, this is from Yahoo News, but it's coming from CNN. Hamas political leader Haniyeh assassinated in Iran, plunging Middle East conflict into a dangerous new phase. Now, this isn't the only guy that was killed overnight, by the way. There was another gentleman, being the second leader, who was killed. So this is the Hamas guy that got killed. There was another Hezbollah senior military commander in Lebanon that got killed as well. Things are heating up over there, folks. Things are heating up. And I'm just going to tell you that this is becoming a hotbed again, all because of Joe Biden's lack of attention to be able to keep control of the region, after which Trump already had them in a hemmed-in state. Now, Iran mentioned, or Iran's state-run media, Pravda, basically like organization IRNA, said that the strike happened at about 2 a.m. local time, involving an airborne guided projectile. Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, whatever it is, was sworn in on Tuesday, and Hamas released pictures the same day of Haniyeh meeting the Iranian officials in Tehran. Okay, so Hamas is meeting Tehran officials. Yeah. Yeah, like they're not in bed with each other at all. No, not at all. Israel's military said it does not respond to reports in foreign media, though senior officials has previously vowed to eliminate Hamas and its leadership in response to the group's October 7th attack on Israel. It later said that it was conducting a situational assessment. Israel, however, did confirm that it carried out a strike in Beirut on Tuesday that killed the Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukr, and who was blamed by them for the deadly attack in Israeli-occupied Golan Heights over the weekend. So that was the kids getting killed. Shukr's assassination was the most serious Israeli escalation in its confrontation with the powerful Lebanese militant group since it restarted in earnest last October. So yeah, things are getting hotter over there. And by the way, the response by Iran here again in the Washington Examiner basically said, Iran raises the red flag of revenge and vows to retaliate after Hamas leader assassination. So the red flag with the inscription of O ye Avengers of Hussein was raised above the Jamakra Mosque in the city of Korn. The flag is rarely raised outside of the mourning of the Muharram month, which commemorates the death of Shiite Imam Hussein bin Ali. So yeah, they're raising the red flag, and they're basically talking about the criminal terrorist Zionist regime martyred our dear guest in our territory, talking about the Hamas guy, and caused our grief. But it has also prepared the ground for severe punishment. This was, of course, the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, said in a post on X. Now, why in the hell does he even have a post on X? I mean, seriously, why does this guy have a post on it? Why does he have an account on X? Why has he not been banned yet? This is just this is just crazy. Oh, I have no idea. Anyway, hopefully Elon's going to clean that up. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Elon's a big advocate for like all around free speech. So, anyway. I love you guys. I'm watching what's going on over on Rumble right now, and I love you guys. Anyway. All right. So a couple of other things that have happened here. I've called the Democrats morons. And apparently I'm going to a bonfire now. I didn't understand where's this bonfire going to be? That's the question. Somebody's bringing Reese's cup ice cream. Another person's bringing some s'mores. And apparently I have to bring the whiskey. Yeah. Anyway, I'm down. Anyway, so the left, and especially the left mainstream media is essentially is essentially blaming J.D. Vance or pointing out J.D. Vance and some of his comments with regards to women and children and that kind of stuff, which, by the way, his comment literally is had to deal with the fact that the amount of U.S. born children is going down compared to our population. And so, yeah, it's basically one of those things where, you know, J.D. Vance's comments were kind of taken out of context because he was referring to the fact that if a country does not repopulate itself, it eventually is going to die. And right now we are being run by essentially white, liberal, single, what he considered as cat ladies, for that. And so, yeah, anyway, well, this MSNBC contributor, who is a complete leftist moron, of course, because he works for MSNBC or MSLSD, as our good friend Mark Levin says. But he apparently claims that J.D. Vance only wants a country for white children. Well, there's a problem with that. For those of you that don't know J.D. Vance is married to an Indian woman. And by Indian, I mean Indian, like from India. The family is from India and has mixed race kids. So, yeah, I don't know how that's going to fly very well. Anyway, he's dim-witted here in the piece. And of course, this comes from the Dan Bongino's, newsletter, I think. But anyway, a dim-witted MSLSD, MSNBC contributor, as if there was any other kind, was roasted into oblivion after accusing Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, of only wanting in America for white children. So Jonathan Lemire, or whatever his freaking last name is pronounced, the stats are there. More and more Americans are choosing not to have kids. Well, no shit. What do you think? They want to bring their kids into this freaking utopian leftist hellhole? I don't think so. But anyway, he says, which again emphasizes why J.D. Vance's comments about childless Americans, childless cat ladies, could be so politically damaging. Yeah. So the comment, which a lot of people found funny, honestly. But even like Molly Jong-Fast, who is a MSNBC or MSLSD contributor too, she tried to latch onto this. Well, again, there's only one problem. Vance has 3 mixed race kids. So, yeah. Anyway, just these people, I swear, they are just so damn dumb. They're stupid. They're just lost. You know, they say that education is the key to intelligence. Not anymore. Education is the key to indoctrination, is what it is. That's what it is. All right. So one thing that the Democrats are definitely worried about is the fact that Trump may win what they consider the blue wall states. Now, for those of you that don't know, the blue wall states are basically Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And as I've pointed out in multiple shows, multiple episodes, is that Donald Trump can pick up just one of those 3 states. And with the addition, the expected addition of someplace like Georgia, for an example, where he is ahead in the polls right now, that's all he would need at this moment in order to get his 270 at the moment. Okay. At the moment. But that kind of scares, of course, which is part of the reason why I keep pointing to the possibility that Josh Shapiro is going to be her VP pick. Because Josh Shapiro supposedly is well liked in Pennsylvania. Now, I don't know for sure, but that seems to be the general trend, is that people seem to think that, people seem to think that, that Pennsylvania is going to follow wherever Josh Shapiro goes. I'm not entirely convinced of that, but that's okay. Whatever. The point is, though, that Kamala can't afford to lose the blue wall states. If she loses any one of the three, realistically, and in particular, let's be honest, Wisconsin isn't that big in terms of the Electoral College. So it would have to be either Pennsylvania or Michigan and actually Pennsylvania and Michigan that she would have to hang on to. So if she loses either Pennsylvania or Michigan to Trump, or even if it happens to be both to Trump, that's going to tank it. Okay? That's going to tank her ability to actually win in this particular case. And by the way, too, right now, polling data is showing that Nevada and New Mexico are potentially Nevada and Arizona are leaning Trump's direction. So we're going to have to kind of see, obviously, this is 90 days out, but at this particular moment in time, if the election were held today, based on the polling data, Trump would win in the Electoral College. And this is what they are afraid of. They are afraid that Donald Trump, who appeals to the blue-collar, hard-working soul and backbone of America, that he appeals to those folks. He connects with those folks. And of course, J.D. Vance, also because of where he comes from with his hillbilly elegy, that connects him to those folks. Okay? And so because of that, they are a little afraid that Kamala Harris can't win in those states. Well, that's part of the reason why I've been telling you we need to make sure that people understand, especially people in places like Pennsylvania, whose livelihoods depend on things like fracking, okay, that we need to make sure that people understand what Kamala plans on doing with fracking. She can't stand it. She wants to get rid of it. She is on board with just eliminating fracking altogether. She's on board with the whole climate change agenda. She's on board with all things that are negative when it comes to dealing with our American economy and energy independence. So, that is essentially the biggest fear right now of the Democrats, that she is going to lose. And realistically, I mean, I've kind of run through, I can't say I've done every variation, but I've done several variations. Okay? Several variations of changes to an electoral college map, assuming that everything else stays the same, and the only ones that are in play as far as electoral college are the 7 battleground states. She can't afford to lose. All Trump has to do is realistically win Pennsylvania and Georgia. That's it. And it's over, if everything stands the way it is today. But this is one of the big reasons as to why why a lot of people seem to think that she will end up picking Shapiro. Now, let's keep in mind that Shapiro in particular is Jewish. And so I think their bet, what they might be thinking of, is they're going to trade one voting block for another. The voting block, of course, that they're probably going to lose will be the Palestinian, anti-American Muslim populations in both Minnesota and Michigan. But they feel as though, I would guess, they feel as though that those are not going to be as big of a hit as it will be if they lose Pennsylvania. Now, I highly doubt that Buttigieg is actually in the running. I know a lot of people are thinking that he is, but he doesn't bring anything to the table. He doesn't bring anything to the table. So, anyway, I just don't see where Buttigieg, I don't see where, God, who's that guy? Well, there's Mark Kelly in Arizona in consideration. There's a Tim Walz, I think, which Tim Waltz, I don't think brings anything to the table, to the Kamala table. And so the only one out of the ones that I've seen so far that are possibles, and by the way, she already said no to the North Carolina guy, North Carolina guy already said no, but I honestly don't think that they are, that anybody other than Josh Shapiro necessarily adds anything to his or to her campaign. But you'll notice all of those happen to be white guys. Because they can't go with a double intersectionality ticket, I don't think. So anyway. Yeah. And Brashear, or whatever his name is, I'm not even sure. He's out too, I think. He's not there. So, anyway. All right. Well, in a bit of good news, and this is the last bit before I get to the pet of the week. But in a bit of good news, and I like to see this because I actually appreciate this guy's comedy, sense of humor. He's been attempted to be canceled by the cancel culture in television land in Hollywood. And I was actually pretty sorry to see his Last Man Standing not come back. But that being said, Tim Allen is reportedly coming back to television and ABC as a sitcom, where he is supposedly going to star. This is going to be a sitcom called Shifting Gears. And he's apparently going to star in the program and play the role of Matt, who is a stubborn, widowed owner of a classic car restoration shop, according to Forbes. Now, they still haven't filled out the cast yet. They have one more person apparently on the cast, or one more regular that they have yet to get somebody for. But apparently they're going to have Kat Dennings, who is from Two Broke Girls fame, who is also going to be on the upcoming show. And the show essentially is, basically the plot line is that Matt's estranged daughter, which is the Dennings person, and her teenage kids move into the house. And they all have, of course, challenges because that's the family dynamic, of course. But anyway, now this guy I actually enjoyed him in NCIS LA. Daryl Chill Mitchell from NCIS New Orleans. He's going to play the role of a former Marine named Stitch, who will be a mechanic at the shop. Now, for those of you that don't know, Daryl Mitchell got into a motorcycle accident and is confined to a wheelchair, I believe. Maxwell Simpkins from the Mighty Ducks, or the movie The Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and Barrett Margolis will play the children, Carter and Georgia. And the role of the youngest brother, or the younger brother, Nick, has not been cast at this time. So this is cool. This is really cool. And I'm happy for him that he's coming back because, of course, he is a Trump supporter. And, we need to advocate for people like this. In fact, the whole Last Man Standing thing where they had to switch networks had a lot to deal with, obviously his stances on politics and that kind of stuff. But I enjoy him. I enjoyed his stand-up somewhat. I enjoyed him in Home Improvement, and I definitely enjoyed him in Last Man Standing. I thought that was pretty hilarious. So I thought that was pretty cool that he's coming back. So that he's actually getting back on the show. And I also, by the way, just in case for those of you who may not know, James Woods, who was one of the executive producers for the movie Oppenheimer. And by the way, he was in an interview with, I forget her name. Anyway, he was in an interview and he revealed the fact that he had to keep his involvement with Oppenheimer kind of on the down low because of the fact that it was up for awards at the Golden Globes. And so he had to kind of keep his mouth shut about his involvement with the movie, but it was a fantastic movie. man, I really wish I would have taken him up on his, or at least bugged him a little bit more on his offer to come and join the program and for an interview. But I just don't feel like wasting somebody's time that way, because we're, I'm kind of a small time deal. So anyway, so yeah, it's fantastic as far as that goes. And, I'm happy. I'm happy that he's coming back. So that'll be really cool. All right, let's go ahead and get on with tonight's Pet of the Week. All right, so tonight's Pet of the Week was submitted by our very own 3 Chevy. So here's the story, and I'm not going to play the videos just yet. I need you to read through the entire story here before I go and play the videos. Hey, Whiskey, tonight I did the most Florida thing that I have ever done. While I was going for my usual evening walk, this guy asks me to help him with a gator. Yeah, you guys do have a lot of gators in Florida. Anyway, he goes on and he says, I've seen hawks, owls, raccoons, woodpeckers, bears, and even a coyote in our neighborhood. And although we do live next door to a place called Green Swamp, I've never seen a gator in our neighborhood. Lots of other places, but not here. So of course I come over and start poking around until he came out from under the refrigerator that he had crawled under. He wasn't very big, probably about as long as your arm or so, but he was still pretty strong. I got a broom and pinned him down while the other guy found a 5-gallon bucket, and we were able to get him scooped up into the bucket, slap a thick piece of cardboard on top, which let him carry our little friend back into the marsh, where we let him go. Thanks again for all the work you do each week. I know we all appreciate it. 3 Chevy. And then he ends it with this. P.S. Gator goes good with hot sauce. I love gator tail. I love the gator tail, the fried gator tail at Papa Do's. I love them. Anyway, so without any further ado, there's 2 videos for tonight. They're short ones, but they're 2 videos, and you get a good look at you'll get a good look at this wonderful gator. So let me go ahead and head on over, get this all set up. Oh, you know what? Did I? Yeah, let me go ahead and do this real quick here. So this guy, sorry, I didn't have this queued up. This is horrible. I fail as a producer. I fail. Where is it? Here we go. Fans. All right. So here's the first one, and I'll play them. I'll actually play them in order, or they'll just go one right after the other. As soon as I get them set up here. There we go. All right. So here we go. Here are the 2 videos of the gator that is apparently something that 3 Chevy got involved in.
The what? Well, I got a 5-gallon can I can maybe stick them into.
Or just theirs. 7 Ashley's trash can.
Take a look at those chompers. Ooh, he's aggressive. Sounds like he is attacking the broom, even though you can't see it. And there he is. He's underneath a tool thing. Tool bench. You'll see it here in just a minute. And yes, he is. Yes, Bonnie, he actually is probably scared.
Yeah. Those them chocolates. Oh, I almost got you.
Now, the one thing that I, of course, had to ask myself in viewing these videos prior to bringing them to the screen was, why didn't you guys like channel your inner crocodile hunter and like get the khaki shorts and the khaki shirt and the electrical tape and like hop on him from behind, close his mouth, and then take the electrical tape and wrap it around his nose? I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. That might have been dangerous, the way that he was being very aggressive and very quick. Alligators, even the big ones, alligators, crocodiles, they're all like quick. They're fast. And the little ones are definitely feisty. As Dual Helix has to talk about here. He's like, the little ones are feisty. They're actually fast. Did you see how fast he like whipped around and went after the other guy in the video? I mean, whew. Wow. All right. Well, yeah, that, yeah, there we go. So 3 Chevy is now going to be known as the Alligator Whisperer. All right, folks, that's the end of the program for tonight. Do me a favor, if you haven't done so already and are not part of Rumble, please head on over to rumble.com. Get yourself an account. It is free. And once you sign up and sign in, go and follow the American Perspective channel over there. Also, too, if you are already on Rumble or actually anywhere, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. That would be in, Facebook land, YouTube, X, whatever it is. Give me the thumbs up and happy, joy. So, show me some love. I'd love to get on the Rumble leaderboard someday in the near future, and that will definitely help. All right, folks, we will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We will see you tomorrow, and good night, everybody.
The previous broadcast was produced and is owned by Active Eye Media LLC. All rights reserved.